What's going on, guys? I made a Reddit post and a YouTube post talking about what your guys' MTG bad takes were, and it kind of popped off. We got like over 800 comments over on Reddit. We got about 10 comments over here, so we got quite a bit of comments. I took my favorite ones. Counters shouldn't be exclusive to blue. They should do it best, but at least one other color should have worse versions available. Alright. Wish mechanics are absolute bullshit and should go away. People shouldn't be able to pull from their sideboards in the middle of the match. I mean, yeah, they have to, like, replace one of their cards with it, though. It's just like I'm running a tutor card. Like, I don't really see an issue with that. This guy went up against one too many wish mechanics, and he's upset. Ooh, summon elf is better than creature elf. I agree with this one, kinda. That might be a bad take, but I agree with it. I miss interrupts. I miss summon creatures. I just miss all the world enchantments. I just thought that shit was cool. I do kind of miss the old words a little bit. Control decks based on land destruction and resource denial should not be considered toxic. It's a valid strategy. Yeah, that's two different things, though. It's a valid strategy. But when, like, talk to someone who runs a land destruction deck and watch the evil glow in their eye. Like, they'll be like, yeah, my whole strategy is just about making it so they can't play. And you're like, okay, bro, I just asked you what your deck was. You don't have to, like, go fucking sociopath about it. They talk crazy. Those land destruction players, they talk wild. The Commander's Rule Committee are a bunch of hacks who don't know how to run a format. I'll let you guys talk about that one. I got a channel to preserve over here. If you aren't good at Limited, you aren't good at Magic. You're not good at deck building if you're not good at Limited. I think, because many people I've taught to play the game have bought precons and have beat my ass with precons. So I don't think it inherently means you're not good at the game. It means you don't know how to deck build. Because those same players, you go, here's a bunch of cards, make a deck. They come out with a steaming pile. So there's a difference. There's nuances to it. The art has gone too serious and boring. Amazing technical skills, but 99% of them are generic, flavorless fantasy. We need some fun cards like Orcish Settler and Goblin Gardener. I mean, those are some fun boys right there. I mean, I can't deny I smile when I look at those cards. Like, so I agree. I think we need to get weirder with the art. More hand-painted shit, more weird stuff. I miss the old weird shit. Like, it was so fun to look at Magic cards when I was little. This one might be my least favorite take. So, and this was a reply to someone else's comment. I don't even think this is an actual take. The plural of Grand Prix is Grands Prix. I'll put it on the screen. Grands Prix. Ugh. Eee. That's a bad one. That's a bad take right there. I hate that. That comes out of your mouth awful. Grands Prix. Kamigawa, Ravnica, Lorwyn, Shadowmoor had peak Magic storytelling. When it's focused on the plane and its denizens, it's great, and not on Planeswalker soap opera. Ooh. I think that's a good take. I think that's a big reason why I'm not into the lore anymore. It's always about, like, here's the bad Planeswalker trying to get this really powerful weapon, and the good Planeswalkers are trying to stop him. I'm like, I can go watch a Marvel movie, and I don't do that, so I'm not going to do this. Product fatigue feels like a concept generated entirely by perpetually online fans who are constantly looking at anything and everything MTG related, the MTG equivalent of news hounds. As a person who's online all the time, and am always looking at Magic shit, I kind of agree that this might be why I feel so jaded and, like, hateful towards the product production. I'm just seeing a lot of it, because it's all I'm looking at. So, I don't think that's necessarily a bad take. Lands as a mechanic kinda sucks, to be honest. They lead a ton of non-games where you can't do anything because you drew too few or too many lands. I'd very much prefer a resource system like Duel Masters where you can just use anything as a land. I know people complain about that game being repetitive, but I think that's more due to it being really hard to interact with your opponent's stuff there rather than the resource system. No. I think that's a bad take. That's a completely different game. Duel Masters is a completely different game. Like, Magic's Magic because you have the stack, because you have lands, you have to build your deck certain ways. So good job. You actually met the requirements of a bad take. A lot of these takes are just good takes. So I think declare blockers is a mess. I hate that blockers can be declared and then effects can remove that creature or tap that creature before damage and the block is still legal. I get why it's there, but thematically it absolutely makes no sense. Yeah? It kind of makes no sense. Like, so my logic with this, I like it gameplay-wise. It makes gameplay fun, because you have to think about, ooh, can they block sack? But it's funny, because when you talk about the stack to people, an analogy a lot of people use for the stack is, like, the creatures are separate from their abilities entering the stack. So one of the analogies I've heard is, like, if I throw a baseball and you end life on me, that baseball's still flying through the air. That baseball doesn't stop flying because I already threw the baseball. My creature already activated the ability. It's already happening. Why isn't that same logic applied to block sacking, though? Because block sacking is like you threw a baseball at me, I put my mitt up to catch it, baseball's coming towards my mitt, and then I drop my mitt right here, and the baseball drops with my mitt. You know what I mean? It's like, that doesn't make any sense. The baseball should go through and hit me, because I'm not catching it. I get what you're saying logically. But gameplay-wise, I think the sack thing's fine. Tutoring is a crutch and makes you worse at deck building. I don't think it makes you worse at deck building. I think, if anything, it makes you better at deck building. The crutch part might be true. Like, you might be like, I can get away with running fewer board wipes or fewer removal spells because I run tutors. I can go tutor them. I think it makes you a better deck builder because you're theoretically doing the stronger thing, which is what a good deck builder wants to be doing. But I do think that it is a little bit of a crutch in the deck building process because it's like, I can run this instead of this. Commander ruined the game. I know I'm a Commander player and 90% of the content on this channel is about Commander, but I kind of agree. I don't think Commander itself or Commander players or the format or what the format was about when it first started ruined anything. I do think Wizards focusing so heavy on Commander, like making Commander Legends and now making the new Commander Legends, making pre-cons, so you don't even have to build your own decks anymore. You can just go buy a new deck. I don't like that. I do think that's ruined why Commander was fun. Because when we first started playing it, that was the whole point, is you were running cards that were made for Modern, made for Standard, made for all these competitive formats, and you were trying to see if you could make them work in a 100-card singleton 4-way format. And that's just pretty much gone. That's pretty much gone. That's why all my decks are so weird. That's why if you look at my list of decks, like, there's 2 of them that kind of are just, like, good commanders that the deck is what you'd expect it to be, and the other 8 are just, like, nonsense decks, where it's, like, Magar, bad spells, Alondro, Rube Goldberg, where I'm just trying to do as many untaps in a turn as I can. I like building weird shit that doesn't have a ton of support or a ton of deck list online, because that's the worst feeling for me, is when I really like a commander, I love it, I'm like, this seems cool, it seems like it might be underplayed, and I look it up and there's a million decks, and there's nothing but support for that commander. Oh, you didn't realize 2 sets ago there's nothing but support for this tribe that you thought was really obscure? No, they printed a bunch of bird tribal shit. Oh, I don't really want to build it now. Like, you know what I mean? I wanted to run changelings, I wanted to have a challenge. I liked the challenge of Commander, and I think focusing on Commander so much did take away the challenge. I do agree with that. Outside of Saffron Olive, MTG content creators are aggressively mediocre and lack the star power. I feel personally attacked.
Walk out the door, you see someone that you know, and they ask you how you are, and you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never.
You clearly haven't watched my shit then. Saffron Olive, who is that? Who is that? Oh, MTG Goldfish is Saffron Olive? Counterspells are ass. Who wants to pay mana to not play? I mean, counterspells are ass. Who wants to pay mana to not play? Sorry. Control players? Anyone who plays blue? The people that have opinions on control and counterspells have never been the one manning one of those decks, because that shit's fun. The amount of, like, sealed events I've gone to where I've pulled, like, so much control shit, and I'm like, there's kind of no reason for me not to go control right now. I go control, and it is so fun watching your opponent just be like, alright, yep, play this, remove it. Okay, walk to his friends. Yeah, this dude is playing fucking counterspells. I couldn't even goddamn. Ooh, nothing's better than that shit. Ooh, Mana Dork should be white instead of green. Where the hell do you get off? Where do you get off saying some shit like that? White? What's the logic behind that? You know how good white would be if it had mana dorks? I'm not going to read this whole thing, but I'll read the top part. Regardless of your opinion on its popularity or prevalence or whatever, Commander just makes you bad at Magic. If you're going to complain anytime there's an aggressive player at the table or someone uses a counter against your combo piece, you might as well sit in a circle and say, look at my stack of cardboard rectangles I own. I kind of agree, though. Like, I've came full circle on a bunch of shit lately. So many games of EDH or Commander that we play, in my friend group that last 2, 3, 4 hours because no one wants to be the guy that's like, oh, I'm going to combo off, oh, I'm going to swing at you and just take you out. No one wants to be that guy. It ends up being a game where if you're super ahead early on, you end up getting smoked or you end up getting like haltered. It's like, nope, stop him from doing all that shit. Cool, we stopped him. Don't do anything. There's no reason to attack anybody. I don't want to make any enemies right now. There's no reason to do that. And then someone either combos off and wins and you're like, oh shit, I should have just killed you. Or the guy that was super far behind early game has all of his gas now and you've ran out of all your gas. And the dude that played the worst and built the worst deck ends up winning. So I do agree with that. I think that the way that the game is played is because people are too nice in the Commander community and they let people get away with too much. Like, it's like, oh, I meant to do this. Can I go back and do this? Oh yeah, go ahead. Go back and do that. You know, here lately, our playgroup's been like, no, you can't go back and do that. Like, that's the point of Magic. Like, you have moved to this next phase. Priority's been passed. You fucked up. Like, learn from it. I win the game. You lose the game. Singleton is a bigger problem for Commander than it being 4-player. So you think we should be able to run 4 ofs in Commander? I think it'd be interesting. I think that takes away... Again, play some competitive formats then. That's what's weird about me, how I've been thinking about this shit lately. I agree that you should try to be winning. I don't think you should be trying to win as fast as possible in the deck building process. I don't know if that makes sense. Like, when I build decks, I'm like, I want this game to go to like turn 10 to 15. I want this to be a deeper game. I want this to be fun, but I want to kill somebody when I have the opportunity to. If I'm playing my deck and we get to like turn 10, turn 12, turn 13, and I have the opportunity to win, I'm going to win. You know what I mean? I want to win, but I want to feel like I earned the win. I want to feel like I kind of like built up this like battle cruiser. We're definitely battle cruiser players over here. I'm not going to lie. We like to make big board states. And then most of the time, someone just ends up conceding. Most of the time, people are like, ah, yep, you got us. And they concede. That's kind of how we play over here. But on that same note, you do have to be trying to win. But I don't think you should be trying to win in the deck building process so hard. Because people lean heavily into like, how am I going to win turn 2 or 3? Bro, look at my deck. Look at how it can win turn 3. I'm like, cool. But that's not a deck then. That's 3 cards. You know what I mean? I like building an entire deck that works together. It's like a oiled machine that's working together. And I think it's really hard to get that feel of like, how do I make this machine work if you can run 4 ofs? I just think that kind of takes away from the whole, like, how do I make this work of Commander? Along with a bunch of other things. They're taking away that feeling of Commander lately of how do I make this work by giving us just the best stuff. Like, back in the day, Teneb was a decent Commander. It stomped a lot of the decks at my table. It was fun to play against. Games went long. I had to run some weird shit. And now there's just infinite amount of support for Reanimator. There's a billion Commanders that are 10 times better than Teneb now. It's not for me. It doesn't have the same feel as Commander used to have, which is why our playgroup kind of hinders themselves a little bit in the deck building process. Like, there's nothing too strong. There's no real combos in our playgroup. It's just good old Commander deck building. Ooh, Pot of Greed should be legal. That's a spicy take. That's a hot take right there. That might be my favorite one so far. That might be my favorite one so far, if I'm being honest. Pot of Greed should be legal. I'll let you guys talk about that one in the comments. I don't want to get involved in that. Ooh, this is a good take. I actually like this take. Mass land destruction isn't a problem. Finishing the game after blowing up everyone's lands is the issue. Exactly. That's exactly what I was trying to get at when I say talk to a land destruction player. They're not going to go, oh, my game plan's to blow up all your lands, and then since you're resourceless and you can't play any blockers or anything, I then rush this stuff out and kill you, or I play Banefire and kill you. That's kind of my game plan. They don't say that to you. They say, well, I'm pretty much just going to blow up all your stuff so you can't play. You're just sitting there like, but how are you going to win? How are you winning? What's your plan on winning? Winning? You're not going to concede when I blow up all your lands? People who hate on Commander do so because they have no friends to play it with. I could see that. I have very few friends to play it with. I play with my cousin and I play with my friend Deegan. That's about the only 2 people I really play EDH with, and a lot of our games are 1v1 or 3-ways. And I still kind of feel like this because I don't have a lot of people to play with. I'm like, it's okay. Like, I've been having a little less fun with Commander lately. And I feel like it's just because I don't go to stores, I don't play with different play groups. So I think this is a great take. I think this is actually accurate. Arena is freaking terrible. The matchmaking is trash. Like, this might just be my opinion, but it really seems like the matchmaker likes to pick opponents that are running a counter to every one of your decks you're playing. It seems like 9 out of 10 times they will have every card they need to counter your stuff. Can't relate. Can't relate, buddy. Can't relate. I went from bronze to platinum in like 4 days because I was stomping on kids. And also, arguments like this don't make sense to me. Like, it's the people that used to play League that are like, dude, matchmaking sucks in League. I literally will lose 7 in a row. It's like everyone just loses every game and you're just stuck in this elo hell. And I'm like, yeah, but those games you're losing, the other team's winning. So that immediately shuts down your argument. Like, not every game is the counter to your deck because the deck you're playing beat you. So it played against a deck it was good against. If you're bitching about my proxied $100 card, then what you're really telling me is that I'm required to spend a ton of money to be competitive and keep you happy. And then I really like the reply to this. I think what they're really saying is they'd hope that the price of the card would prevent them from ever having to play against it. That's a really good take. That's a super good take. Because I've been there. I've been there. When I was like young, when I was like 8 to 12 playing Friday Night Magics, I would sit across the table from some cards that I would never be able to afford, like Karn Liberated and shit like that back in Standard. I'd be like, I was really hoping I wouldn't have to play against that because it's $70. I didn't think anybody would really drop Oh, Jace the Mind Sculptor, that's $120. I didn't really think that you'd be dropping that. So I get that sentiment of like, I really do think that's why people get upset with proxies, is because they think the price is an excuse for them never having to play against it. I have no issue as long as there is a more friendly version of it available for those who don't want to break immersion. And then the replies are hilarious. This guy says, when you play MTG, do you really imagine you're a wizard casting spells? Yes. That's not even a joke. Yes. I am on the spectrum, and I love that shit. And then this guy goes, no, but when Gandalf -2s to exile an Optimus Prime, it's kind of cringe. I don't get why people hate on mono white and commander so much, yet say nothing about mono red. Mono red is a bad color, not mono white. I 100% agree with this. It almost seems like I left this comment, because I have been saying that forever. I'm like, why is white getting so much hate? It has the best removal, hands down. It's got some of the best early game creatures. Smothering Tithe, Path to Exile, Land Tax, Swords to Plowshare. It's got some of the best shit in the game. Like, red, I'm like, Blasphemous Act? That's not bad. Dockside Extortionist? It's really expensive, but it's not bad. It's a good card. It really depends on what your opponents play. Much harder for me to do. Mono red that isn't just burn or Cranko. I know some of you guys in chat feel attacked by that. I know that 90% of the people at my local game store feel attacked by that. Every red deck is Cranko. Every red deck. What's up? I'm running mono red. What are you running? Oh, Perforos Goblins. Yeah. Oh, I'm running mono red. What are you running? Cranko Goblins. Just, okay. I should tell you there's only one real thing you can do with it. Thoughtseize should have died on the R&D floor. No card that powerful should be allowed to warp so many formats. I mean, like, at that point, Force of Negation should be banned. You know what I mean? Because that can counter the Thoughtseize for free. It counters all the other shit happening. There's a ton of cards that are format warping. And I think that's part of the fun in those competitive formats, is, like, being the meta decker that finds a way around those things. But that's also coming from me. Like, I am a known meta decker. I love building counter decks to what's popular. And just seeing if they can shit on those strategies. So, I get what you're saying, but I also do not play Modern, and I'm just now getting into Pioneer. So I might ask me in a week after I played some Pioneer games, and I'll come back like, fuck Thoughtseize, man, that's the dumbest fucking card in the world. So opinions change. Counter spells are broken. Literally just easy, cheap, and accessible kill spells that no one can do anything against unless you play counter spells. Okay, so let me explain how the words you just said answer your own question to why they're not broken, okay? So, you're saying counterspells are broken. The only thing that can really stop a counterspell is a counterspell. It's almost like that's what they're there for, is to stop the broken stuff. That's why they're there. There's checks, like, MTG is a game of checks and balances, and if we didn't have counterspells, so many things would go unchecked and unbalanced. So I think we need them. We need counter spells to help, to protect, to stop powerful things from happening. Sure, that makes them powerful. Broken, no. Like, they're the ultimate safety net in Magic. They're the ultimate, like, okay, this is too good, I need to stop this from happening. Discarding to hand size is a relic of past game design. Me and my cousin were talking about this. There's so many, like, reanimator decks where it's like you're trying to go second and draw that card so you can discard that big thing and then next turn reanimate it. So getting rid of that gets rid of a ton of strategies, gets rid of a bunch of the way the game works. Fundamental game rules don't have to be the best version of themselves. People don't have to have 30 cards in their hand because that would be more fun and that'd be more powerful. It's harder to discard down to 7, which is why the game's fun. And they're taking away so many of the ways that the game is fun by making the rules easier like that. And I'm not for it. Therese Nielsen did nothing wrong. I'm going to plead the fifth on that one. We're going to go ahead and I am going to keep future business opportunities open by not responding to that one. The game is way better on mobile. I can play a lot more games, thus allowing me to tweak my decks faster and better because it's against a different person, different deck each time. Have you played Paper Magic? Do you have friends? If you don't have friends, I get it. Playing online is way more fun. You can play with people, you have more games. If you have a group of friends that plays the game, there's no way you find online more fun. There's no way. +1/+1 counter decks are boring to play and to play against. We're built different, bud. Me and you are built different. I love watching someone pop off with 1/1 counters. I love, like, Rube Goldberg shit. I know what you're gonna say. Isn't the point of a Rube Goldberg machine is that it's a really long thing that's pointless? Yes. I love that shit. We're allowed to like what we like, alright? And 1/1 counters takes the concept of, like, doing a bunch of shit for an outcome and actually makes the outcome good. Colossal Dreadmaw isn't colossal enough. You wanna say that to my face? No, come say that to my face. I live on 14. I probably shouldn't give my address. Mana Burn should still be around. The batch is better and makes more sense than the stack. Planeswalkers should never have been printed. This is a lot to unpack. So, Mana Burn, I think it's stupid and makes no sense. I hate it. So, and I'm probably completely wrong, but Mana Burn is unspent mana in your mana pool burns you. Correct? Why are you tapping mana that you're not going to use is what I don't understand. And I'm probably wrong. It's probably just untapped mana. That would make more sense. But the way it's always worded online is unused mana in your mana pool burns you. Why are you tapping mana that you're not going to use? I'm going to pay 7 for this spell. Oh, the spell only costs 5. Ugh. The batch is better and makes more sense than the stack. Look at this picture I'm going to put up on the screen. And you tell me that makes more sense than the stack. The batch was ridiculous. Damage resolved at the end of a whole stack resolving. You couldn't lightning bolt something in response to them giant growthing it. Their giant growth would happen first because damage is always at the end of the stack, which was ridiculous. Like, that takes so much of the counterplay out of the game. There was an entire phase for regenerating your creatures. You couldn't just do that at any time. There was a specific time in the batch that you could do that. There was a specific time that you could prevent damage in the batch. Once someone played an interrupt in the batch, the only thing people were allowed to add to the batch was more interrupts. Don't tell me that shit's easier. I hate when you're going off and making plays with pauses and the opponents are so interested in your play that when you change to different phases, main attack and end up winning, suddenly they look at their hand and say, oh, I could have countered that. Fuck you, Ryan. You can look, that's what it says. That's hilarious. This dude got smoked. This dude smoked a guy named Ryan, and then every time he beats Ryan, he's like, oh, I could have done something about that. Good game, though. You didn't really win, but good game though, dude. You beat my ass. I could have totally stopped you, but good fucking game, dude. You fucking smoked me. I had all the answers to absolutely dismantle your whole deck and make you cry like a bitch. Oh man, good game, good game. Fuck you, Ryan. Burn is fun. Eldrazi's are all bastard cards to play. Don't know how much of a take it is, but I refuse to even look at a card over $5 USD as potential deck pieces, let alone all the 0 mana ramp artifacts. What are you talking about? You can't even play the Moxes in most formats. You don't buy any cards that are over $5. You went to the right channel then, because I'm all about that budget, baby. Eldrazi's are all bastard cards. I am the opposite. I think Emrakul should be unbanned. Like, I don't even care. I don't even see a problem with that card. Like, you have to cast it to take an extra turn. It's 15 mana. Like, the whole argument with it is like, if you cheated into play early, you're done. Yeah, sure. Blightsteel, if you cheated into play early, you're done. There's so many cards where if you cheat them into play early, you're done. Well, even if you just play it normally, you get a whole extra turn with Annihilator. You pretty much win the game. For 15 fucking mana? I would hope to God I'm winning the game off 15 mana. Like, the 30th year anniversary product was a tremendous success. Not only did us collectors get a nice status boost from having scarcity, but as an EDH player, we also saw some great reprints of OG duels. Yeah, those didn't get the price down at all in the OG duels, though. The reprints didn't matter. And they're unfucking playable cards. I don't know why people keep forgetting this. Proxy them. You're buying a $700 proxy. Why? My playgroup's okay with proxies. Then don't spend $700 on a proxy! My least popular take is that I find Commander to be the least interesting format. I would rather do a retail draft or play Standard. I agree. I would much rather play most other formats than Commander. Deck building in Commander is so much fun. Like deck building for me is like a big reason why I play so much Commander. It is so fun for me to build Commander decks. It's a big reason why I made this channel, because I can just talk about Commander and talk about building around Commanders and building cool decks and cool interactions without having to actually play so many 4-hour games. So I do agree with this. I would much rather be playing a sealed event. Like, when I'm into an hour-and-a-half Commander game, I'm always like, I wish I had a Pioneer deck. I wish we brought some packs and played a draft. Like, because this is taking so long. I just wanted to, like that one dude said, I just want to be like, here's my 100 cool cards. Look at how they interact with each other. Like, when I have one turn that lasts, like, 10 minutes in my Alando deck, and I'm tapping, untapping, exiling, tapping, untapping, playing Kozilek for free, playing this, cheating all these into play, that's all I need. I don't even need to win. No one knows when to make a judge call for slow play. Everyone either calls a judge after you think for more than 20 seconds in a tricky situation, or they'll wait for 7 to 8 minutes before making the call. You can let your opponent think for a couple minutes without immediately calling out slow play, especially with a muddy board state. Man, who hurt you, dude? Who hurt? Oh, fuck you, Ryan. Okay, it's the same. Okay, those are all the bad takes we had. If you liked the video, leave a like, subscribe, share. If you want me to do another one of these, let me know. If you want me to do a good take video, let me know. Any video ideas that you guys are looking for on YouTube for Magic, please drop a comment about them. I would love to start making some newer content. Expect more content. I will still be uploading every Wednesday and every Sunday at 6 p.m. So please watch out for that. Like, share, subscribe. And I will see you guys later. Much love, and go play some Magic, guys.